All right, so we forgot to add something. So we're going to give this a class. We're going to give it a class called equal. So say class equal. So we're going to give it a class called equal, and then we didn't create zero. So let's create zero. So have button. So we have zero, and then we also have dot. So we have dots. That dots for points, so that you'll be able to put your point, right? So we have dot and point. All right. So next, let's head to our style.css. All right, so let's go to our style.css. Now we have done the HTML, so we should go and style it now. So let's go to our style. So we'll start from the body. We'll start from the body. We'll start from the body. So we'll say display flex. So the display should be flex. Then you should have justify content center. Then you should have align items center. Then you should have height. Let's give it a height of 100 VH. So you can have, we have pixel, we have other, so but we are just using VH. So let's give it a background color. So we can give it a background color. I like this background color, hashtag 111. So it's kind of black. Then let's give it a font family. Font family, let's give it Arial. Arial. That's the way this sans serif. So we need Arial. So now, what we'll do now, we'll call the calculator. Remember, if we want to style a div, we'll do hashtag, but because we're calling a class, so we'll do not do dot. So we'll say dot calculator. So dot calculator will now have let's have a background. So we have background of hashtag 222. Then let's give it a padding of 20 pixel. Then let's give a border radius of, let's say border radius should be 15. Then we should have a width. So let this, now this dot calculator is the whole container. Again, it's the whole container. So you should have a width of 320 pixel. So 320 pixel. So we don't, okay, all right. So let's proceed. Now let's go and check what's the next thing there. So after having this, okay, the class is even, let's change it to calculator. Calculator. So I've done this class now called calculator. So the next thing is the display, that is the screen where something is going to display. The ID is called display. So we'll now call it, sorry, we'll now call it hashtag display. Hashtag display. We're going to have hashtag display. So this our display is not spelled properly. Display, okay. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is to start this display. So let's give it a width 100%. So what we're doing now, we're saying let the width of this display screen be 100% of the whole total container. Yes, so that's what we're doing. So let's give it a height of 60 pixel. Then let's give it a font size. Let the font size be 2 rem. So you can also say 2 pixel, anyone. So I decided to use rem, right? So let's do text align. Text align. Let's do center. Or rather, I want to align it right. So let me do text align right. I want it to, because if you look at calculator, you only see that calculator is always starting from the right hand side. So I don't know if you get. So let me do text align right so that the text will display from the right side. So let's have a margin button. I want to have margin button to be 20 pixel. So that there will be enough space from the buttons. Then another thing I want to have is border. I don't want border none. Then let's put a border radius of 10 pixel. Border radius of 10 pixel. Then let's let's have a padding. So padding should be like 10 pixel. Then we should have a background of like something like black. Then we should have color. So the color should be, let's do 0F0, right? So now I've started the display. So let's see how far we have gone so far. Let me save, but let me go to this thing and call it. So let's call our CSS. So here we'll put link. Then we'll put rel goes to style sheet. Then we have a reference calculator.css. All right. So let's save and refresh to see what we have done so far. All right. So this is the way it appeared. Now let us change our uh this thing that is written here. This calculator written here. I want to put it inside here like this. So let's cut it and put it inside here. So let's save and see how it look. So it's better like this. And then let's give it a color of, well, this color is good. This color is good. Okay. So let's proceed. So what's the next thing on the line? So we have done our display. So the next thing we'll do now, after our display, what do we have? So we have the buttons. That is all these buttons here. All the buttons. So we're gonna put okay, no, we're gonna start this button here. There's a place where we call button. Yeah, this button, BTN, this place here. So I'm going to call it. So come here and do .btn, .btn, right? So this BTN here, we're going to have display. It should display like grid. So we have talked about grid before. So now we are applying the grid. So we should have display grid. Then let's put our grid template column. So grid template column, let's put 41FR. So it's good like this. Let us save and see how it look like. All right. So you can see now that it's getting better, it's getting good. All right. So the next thing now we'll do now is let us put a background. Let's put a background. Background should be hashtag 333. Okay. Let us save and see how it look like. All right. So the next thing we'll do is Let us give a border radius of 10 pixel. So border radius 10 pixel. Then let us put a font size. Font size. So font size will be 1.2 rem. 1.2 rem. Then after I'm going to put again. Let's put color. So we're going to put color. So we'll have a color of white color. And so the next thing we're going to have a cursor so that when we go close to the each of the BTN, it should give us a cursor pointer. Sorry, this one self. While we are done with this, we are done with this particular. It's supposed to be under button. Under each of those button we define. Sorry, so we're going to define. So what we're going to do now from this, starting from this place, let's cut here, Control S, cut, then put it inside here. Then here, let us put gap, grid gap. Let us put a gap. So the gap should be like 10 pixel. So let's save and see if the gap is well, because this gap is all right. So you can see how it look like now. So all right, all right, okay, all right. So it's good like this. Okay, so let's continue styling our button. So we have a cursor pointer. So that when we get close to it, you can see now that it's pointing. If we leave, it's not pointing. So when we get close to it, you can see that it's pointing, right? So now let us continue. So now we have a cursor pointer. Then we let us have a transition. So let us have a transition of 0.2 seconds. So that is that for the button. Let's do button over. So when we over on the button, something should happen, right? So when we over it, we want the color to change. I don't like this color. So I want the color to change to something like there's this FF4141. So let us save. So if I come, you can see now. Change it to something like red so that we'll know that we are actually touching something. All right. So the next thing we do is to do uh so I think that is basically it. That's basically it. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to go to our JavaScript. So we're going to go to our JavaScript and then implement stuff. Now, first of all, there's something I want to do in this zero. This zero. This zero. I want to do something there. So let us go to zero. Let us go to our HTML and look for zero. The place we have zero. So yeah, let us put a class. Let us put a class. Let's call the class zero. So let's save it. Then come back to our CSS and call the class dot zero. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to say grid column. So you're going to have grid column span 2. So I will show you what this thing will do. So ensure you do it exactly the way I did it. Grid column span 2. So save it. Then come to your this thing and refresh. So you can see it will make the zero to increase. Span to expand the zero, right? So we're done with the HTML. This thing is not fitting well. Let me adjust this input. So let me adjust it. So I should probably do padding right because I want to push it to the left. So let me look for the display and do not padding, rather margin right. So let me do margin right. So margin right, let's do 30 pixel. It even move at all. Let's make it 300. All right. This why I didn't move is because we have already say it should take a space of 100%. Right. So that's why this margin will not work. So let's leave it like that. I don't want to bring extra complexity to this stuff. So let's remove this margin right. So as you can see, now this is what we call just this is just what we call HTML and CSS. You can see that what we used to create the structure before. Let me show you how it is without CSS. Let's go to HTML. Let's go and disable the CSS. So let's make mistake here. So let's save it. So you see how it will look like without CSS. Let's refresh. So this is how it look like without CSS, right? So you can see we're just defining the structure, that is HTML. But when we added, let's add the CSS back. So we save it. And then when we now refresh, you can see how beautiful. So CSS adds styles to a web page. So the next thing now, let's go to the Coco. Let's go to the JavaScript. That is the major thing here. So our JavaScript is not named properly. Let's rename it. Calculator. All right. So remember, we always start with use strict. So this is what is going to make the calculator work. So this is why we're doing this project is that I want to show you that show you how what CSS is used for, what HTML. Now you know what CSS is used for, used to style the web page. That's what gave it the beauty and everything. So now this is what's going to make it to work. JavaScript. That's what's going to make the website to the calculator to work. Right. So we're going to start after putting your use strict in your JavaScript. You're going to put a constant called display. Now inside this display, we're going to have document dot get element by ID. Now we want to get that display. We want to get that display. Now we're getting it by the ID name. If you want to get it by class name, you say get element by class, but we didn't give it a class name. Look, see it here. We gave it an ID. So you can see this is it here. We gave it an ID. So you come back to your JS, get element by ID, then what is it called again? So it's called display. So you put your semicolon, then you go down. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to call a function. We're going to do function append. So that is the function we called earlier in our HTML. So you can see this function here, all this append. That is the function we called earlier. So we'll go back, we'll say function append, then we put a curly bracket. So yeah, we're going to say display dot value. This display dot value. Now the value of the display should be plus equal value. So because equals value, right? So now the next one we're going to do is we're going to close this function. We're done with this function. So let's call this one, let's call it 1. Function 1. Now the next one, let's call it 2. So the second function we're going to call is clear display. Now if we go to our HTML, we have you can see this thing now, this function called clear display, right? So that's what we're going to do. This is the function that is going to clear everything. When we click, when something is on the input, it's going to clear everything. So it's a function called clear display. So now let's write our function now. So we'll say function clear display. So clear display. Now inside here, we're going to have display dot value. So when you click on this clear, so display dot value is going to be empty. So the value of value is going to be empty. Then that what is going to basically happen when you click on the so when you click on the clear display, everything is going to wipe. So that's why we say let the display be empty when I click on it, right? So the next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to do a function called delete chart. So I'm going to have three. I'm going to have a function. I'm going to have a function called delete. So let's see that function there. Delete char. Okay. Delete char. All right. So this is what's going to be deleting it. So we're going to do something. We're going to do display dot value equals to display dot value dot slice 01. I will explain. So what this thing means that display dot value, let what is inside that display be equals to display dot value dot slice 0 minus 1. That means, remember when I taught us about index, I said the first number start with 0. The first number start with 0, and then the last index is always minus 1. So the last index is minus 1. So what I mean is that anytime I click on this delete chart, what is going to happen is going to remove the last number, right? The last number in the input. So that's what's going to happen. So the next thing we're going to do now is to write our next function. So the next function we're going to write is called calculate. Now this is what's going to calculate everything. So I'm going to have calculate. So I'm going to have a function. We're going to have a function called calculate. So it's going to be called calculate. Now, this calculate, we're going to do something. We'll say try. You should try display dot value. Display dot value equals to, you should evaluate. That means when we click on that, when we click on the equal to, you should do you should evaluate display dot value. That means when we click on the equal to sign, you should evaluate what is inside the display. You get? So that's what this is going to basically do. So now you are going to do something. You're going to say, if it does not work, you should cache an error. So it's called cache. In case if it did not work, so you should cache. Now this cache, you're going to open another curly bracket. So we should cache curly bracket. So I'm going to do display dot value. So display dot value equals to what? Error. So you save. So when you save, you come to your calculator.html and then you call in this place now. So you call it here. You're going to do script. So you're going to do script. So inside here, let's put source. So source equals to calculator.js, right? So you save. So when you save, you come to this place and refresh. So let's test run it. All right, so let's test run. Nothing is showing. Let us check. Okay, so I think now in our append, we passed a value there. in this append. So we're passing value there. So, but when we go to our JavaScript, we do not pass any value. So in our JavaScript, let us pass something there. Let's call it value. So value, that is what's going to be inside. So I say each value that is inside the button. So when I click on the button, it's going to display the value in the screen. So let's now just correct this place, put value there. So let's say we should work now. Let's see. So you can see 7 plus 2 equals to 9. So you can delete it. So it's deleted. You can do 8 times 9 equals to, why is it showing error? So let's try, you can do 8 times 9. Something is wrong with this our times, right? Something is wrong. Let's go and check it. Let's go to our HTML. So if you let's go for the time. Now this place append X. So this place is not supposed to be this. It's supposed to be times. So this will be hash. But I will do the hash hour. Then take this one to times. So you exchange it. So we should no longer show you error again. So let's refresh. So now let's do 8 times 9. All right, so it's working. Everything is working. Divided by 8 equals to 9, right? So you can, if you write many things here, maybe you came here, right. So you can follow everything here. But if you want to delete the last one, you can do this one, delete the, right? That's okay. So everything is what you can even do decimal. 0.8 times 9 equals to 72. So ensure yours is working, ensure yours is working, ensure yours is working. All right. That's it for today's class. Ensure you build yours and it's working.